In this lesson, we'll cover unpacking and assembling the FC2250. Before starting, there are some precautions that we need to cover. First, don't build the unit alone. It's easier to put the stand together with two people and thus avoiding injury. Once the unit is built, place it in an area that is dust-free, dry, and is not in direct sun. Make sure there's a rated power outlet that is grounded properly. Place it in an area that has enough room surrounding it, perhaps 2 to 3 feet on each side. It makes it easier when putting material on top of the bed or walking around it. Since it is a table, the temptation is to place items like boxes on top of it. Try to avoid this since this can cause damage to the table. Here are some precautions for maintaining the product. Don't clean with solvents. The manual recommends a dry cloth or a cloth that has been dampened with a neutral detergent diluted with water. Don't oil the parts. It's absolutely unnecessary. Finally, if something goes wrong, don't try to repair it. Call your dealer or Graphtec's technical support department. There are a few but important precautions to follow when operating the cutter. First, handle the blades with care. They're small and are easy to lose. They're sharp and can cut you if you're not careful. This will be covered in a later lesson, but avoid overextending the blade. This can help in extending the life of the blade as well as the table. To avoid injury, don't get too close to the moving parts. Inevitably, something will get torn or pulled. When unboxing the unit, don't immediately remove the lid or top cover. First, you need to remove the nails at the lower end of the box that attach it to the pallet. The nails are serrated, so use a good hammer or crowbar. Once all the bottom nails are removed, remove the whole box itself by lifting it completely off the pallet. This will reveal 3 smaller boxes and a larger flat box. There will be the stand box, the electronic control box, and the plotting table box. Remove the 2 top boxes and unpack them. Keep in mind to keep the table in its box until the stand has been built. Go ahead and open the box and remove the stand components and lay them out on the floor in an organized manner. Let's identify the components. There are 8 larger screws for assembling the stand and attaching the table, 4 smaller screws for mounting the control box, the control box, 2 cross members, 2 stand legs, the power cord, and the USB cable. When assembling the stand itself, we have found it best to take one stand leg and lay it against a table or ledge. This makes it easier to mount the first couple of stand parts. When inserting the screws, don't tighten them completely. Leave them slightly snug. This will allow the stand to be seated correctly. Once the cross member and the first leg are attached, they can be placed on the ground where the cross member can be attached to the second stand leg. Now take the second cross member and mount it to the 2 stand legs. Once the stand is assembled, tighten all the screws. Next, insert the 4 screws for mounting the control box. Remove the control box from its package and locate the slots at the bottom end of the control box. Mount the control box by slipping the keyhole slot over the 2 small mounting screws. Then take the top and slip the keyhole slots onto the top screws. Secure the control box by tightening the 4 screws. With 2 people, remove the table from its box. When mounting the table, the 3 cables that are a part of the table have to be on the side of the control box. Once the table is mounted, these will plug into the control box. When mounting the table to the stand, there is a difference between how the FC2250-60 and the larger units are mounted. With the FC2250-60, it's just a matter of aligning the holes, whereas the larger units essentially slip or fit over the stand. Once the table is in place, secure it with the provided screws. Next, attach the cables coming from the table and connect them to the control box. There are 3 different connections, so it's easy to plug them into the right connectors. Plug the power cord both into the control box, then plug the USB cable into the control panel and then the USB port on your computer. Here's what the unit should look like when it's completed. If you have purchased a vacuum hold-down unit, then you will need to assemble the vacuum pump piping. First, lay out all the pipes in order as you see here. If you'd like, use Teflon tape to cover the thread of the pipes for a better seal. The next couple of frames will show you a step-by-step process of how to assemble the pipe assembly. When finished, take the whole assembly and install it onto the pump, making sure you install it onto the intake port. Otherwise, it will be blowing air out of the table rather than sucking it in. Once your pipe assembly is installed, install the last pipe, the smaller pipe with the filter. Locate the vacuum hose port underneath on the right side of the table. Take the hose clamp and place it over the end of the hose. And then insert the hose onto that port, then tighten the clamp. Once that's all done, take the whole vacuum assembly and place it next to the table. Place one hose clamp loosely over one end of the hose, attach the hose to the vacuum pipe, and then tighten the hose clamp. Position the foot switch in an accessible location toward the front of the table. This is what the final assembly should look like with the vacuum pump.